Back again for another video. On today's topic, we will be discussing keeping tabs. Yes, keeping tabs. I know that this probably isn't a hot topic discussion, and it's not something that is considered much, but I think it's important to understand the environment around keeping tabs and not keeping tabs in relationships. So this is geared towards our women mostly, because that's been the majority of what I've dated. I have dated other races of women, and they don't really fixate about tabs or no tabs. You know, they're fine with a lot of things. Even if you do keep tabs, they're kind of fine with it, if that is your setup. But anyways, that will be today's topic. The reason why I decided to do this topic is because it's something that was discussed not too long ago with a friend of mine's, and he was telling me about how, a woman that he was dealing with was saying that, she had been doing so much stuff for him, and that she felt obligated, I guess, in a way, by doing these things, and that she was exhausted, or she felt like she didn't get the reciprocity, I guess, in return for it. And he said something along the lines of, I can't remember what he said. What did he say? He said something like, I didn't know I was supposed to be keeping tabs. I didn't know we were keeping tabs. And I want to talk about this because this is something that is pretty common, and it can add another branch of a relationship that you didn't know was there, but was always there. And I don't mean it as in a positive thing, because when tabs are talked about, that means someone has some expectations that were not met, right? But anyways, now if we look at how we understand women to exist, we understand that they are very inward pleasing. Not inward, necessarily inward deciphering, but inward pleasing. They know the things that they like. They know the things that they want. They know the things of about their desires, but ask them to tell them about yourself, and they start listing all these superficial things, right? So we're not talking about inward discovery when I say this. But anyways, how we know them to exist. They are ones who exist in manipulation, right? They seek to manipulate situations to the best of their benefit, the best of their abilities, the best outcome for themselves, because this is their main tool. This is what God has given them in order to quarrel with men, because they don't quarrel with men in such a way that we are having a physical encounter necessarily, but they quarrel with men in a social setting, meaning that there are things that are being discussed, ideas being exchanged, and they are being thought about, right? These are the things that women like to be in the arena of. They don't like to fight. Well, let me rephrase that. The functional women do not like to fight. The dysfunctional ones, yeah, we know what's going on with that. But anyway, the functional women, even dysfunctional women, will choose manipulation over fighting a lot of times. So don't get me wrong on that either. But the reason why this is a tool, once again, that they use often is because they can't meet men at a physical level and beat them. A lot of the times, not saying that it's impossible, but most of the time a woman cannot meet a man head to head in aggression, physical aggression, and defeat him. So she has to defeat him in other ways. And this is by way of manipulation through social aspects of life, emotional aspects of life, right? And in this manipulation, there are tabs being kept. I know you may have thought that the woman who said to you early on in the relationship, when you said, "Hey, I bought you dinner last time," and then she replied, "When did we start keeping tabs?" is a woman who you, like I said, thought is one that doesn't keep tabs. but she does. And I'll tell you why. The reason why women keep tabs is because they always want to remain in a state of having the upper hand in their minds anyways, because I've done it plenty of times where I've given the woman the illusion of a woman having the upper hand. Yay, I beat daddy, right? Same thing, and I'm sure plenty of you men out there have done this as well. But one thing you never want to underestimate the abilities of a woman, because while you are thinking that your manipulation is greater than hers, she's counting on you thinking that, right? It's almost like a reverse psychology of a reverse psychology, right? It's like Inception. You ever seen that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio in it, right? It's like tricking someone into believing that this is the real world when they are really in the real world, but then they wake up thinking that you're in the real world, but you're still in the illusion as well. This is kind of what's happening when it comes to women, when they talk about they don't keep tabs. They do. You're in an illusion when she says that, and you actually believe it, because the reason why they keep tabs, once again, is because they want to hold the upper hand of the circumstances, right? And anytime that the woman feels like or deems that she is not in the upper hand of the circumstances, and that is not part of the agreement, she is going to say something about it. She is going to get, or attempt to get, as much as she can out of you to make up for that inadequacy of her side of the field not being filled, right? How does she do this? How she does this? Well, actually, I don't think I'm going to get into how she does this, but I'm going to explain why she does this. And it is pretty obvious, right? Pretty obvious, because she wants to equal the playing field. But notice that the keeping of tabs does not come up until she is not in a surplus anymore. Even if things are all equal, meaning that you paid one time and she paid the other time, and then she paid one time and you were expected to pay the other time, you think she's going to go another time and paying before she says something to you about, hey, so I paid the last 2 times. Like literally, it's only been one extra time, right? She will promptly get right into that. But us as males, we don't normally do this, because we are thinking, once again, because this is part of the early phases of most relationships, is that women want to establish the illusion of the inception, is that they don't keep tabs, and you shouldn't either. The reason why they don't keep tabs is because women require more. Women want more than men do. So of course, if we're going to keep tabs, then she will be at a large deficit at when the audit comes, right? We'll tally it up and we'll see who did what and when, right? She's always going to be at a deficit. The reason why she's going to be at a deficit is, like I said before, because she requires more than you do. She wants more than you. She has more desires. She lives in the world, right? She buys the most things that are not necessary, right? That's why she doesn't want to keep tabs. So if ever you are in a circumstance where you are dealing with a woman and she starts to bring up tabs, just know that you're probably winning. Just know that you're probably winning. And if the relationship is on the rocks, walk away with your winnings. The house loses this time. All right. Don't stay around and try to equalize the playing field, because she's not going to do the same for you. Think about all the past relationships that you've been in where you have actually done more than the woman have. Was there any mentioning of what she owes you? Hell no, it wasn't, because women lack honor in the way that men have it, right? And also, it will equalize the tab of her surplus, right? She doesn't want you to have more in the circumstance than you do, right? But let's talk about how you can and how you should approach these situations, right? because I'm not here to just point out problems. I'm here to also offer solutions to these problems, right? These things that really nobody ever talks about, but they become pretty important at certain phases of the relationship, right? So I'm being the lighthouse here, right? But how you handle these situations is you actually keep tabs. This is how you handle it. You actually keep tabs. Don't ever forget what position you're in, because this is part of a woman's manipulation, right? Because once again, they cannot meet us head to head with aggression. So they need tools in order to manipulate situations into their favor that don't involve physical contact. They involve words, they involve emotions, right? Because men, we have been groomed to not be in tune with our emotions. So they take this as a manipulation. Once again, everything is pretty much upside down in the Black community, that there are things that should be up that are down, and you being in tune and knowledgeable of your emotions is part of this, because this is how you can gauge situations without having to have a whole bunch of conversation about it in logic, right? Because the society, once again, has groomed men to be this way, because it is to the benefit of women for men to be not so, how can I put it? Not so knowledgeable about how emotions work, right? Because this is how you get manipulated. Remember, everything is upside down, and the position that you're in, especially as a Black man, is very deliberate. So you can't think for any second that what you see is right side up. At any point, you should never assume that. You should never assume that the way that you see things as Black men are how they're supposed to be. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, because there have been too many discussions, especially that I have and other men have had, where we tell you that this is not how things are supposed to be. This is actually backwards, meaning that the women should be doing this and you shouldn't be, or the women shouldn't be doing this and you should be, whatever the case, or maybe nobody should be doing it. That things can definitely fall in that range, but nonetheless, keep tabs of exactly what's going on in your relationship, because this is part of what God put you here to do. When man was first created, God gave man a certain set of rules, and one of those set of rules is the categorization of the earth. So that has still remained our job. Nowhere in the Bible did it say, no, you're not going to have to do this anymore. No, as a man, this is still your job. So it is still your job to keep the logistics in check of the relationship. And also that you account for a woman's liability. So in actuality, like I said, things are backwards in the Black community. You should be in the surplus versus her being in the surplus. The reason why? Many reasons. She lacks honor, that she's not going to actually adhere to things at some point, is that she's actually going to cause disruptions in relationships that may set you back, that she is going to be who she is. This is her nature. Not saying that a woman is bad. Not saying that. I'm saying that she is what she is. And you as a male should be accounting for her being what she is. And part of taking account of what she is making sure that she is paying her fair share. Not what she thinks is her fair share, but her actual fair share. And her actual fair share is that she should be in a surplus of what she gives to the relationship compared to you, because you're the more honorable one. You're the more consistent one. Let's say let's use an example. Let's say, okay, I was in the military, right? So what they would do is, so if you were late so many times coming to formation is where we have our meetings in the morning and we're standing in a group, a uniform group, right? For the civilians out there. Sometimes this could be 6 a.m, right? 6 a.m. So not only do you have to be dressed in the proper uniform, you have to be damn near sometimes a half an hour early so that you can be 15 minutes early for the 6 o'clock appointment, right? Don't ask questions. Just follow me. Nonetheless, if you are late from the specified time that you're supposed to be there, you know what they'll do? They'll have you come at 5 o'clock in the morning. Why would they have you come at 5 o'clock in the morning? Because you've been late so many times. This is to make up for the times that you have been late, and also to make sure that you are going to be on time. If we were to scale this in a innumerable amount of hours, right, we will see that this person is actually in a surplus of being early. Why? Because they're inconsistent. That's why. So when it comes to a woman's nature, when she shows you a certain level of inconsistency, you have to charge her extra to make up for what she missed and make up for and actually as a correction to her behavior. And unfortunately for women, y'all kind of stay in a perpetual surplus, right? If it was done correctly, y'all stay in a perpetual surplus because no woman is perfect, and you always have to account for her nature. Her nature is sometimes inconsistent. And also women don't have the honor that men have. Once again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but hell, someone has to keep the lights on around here. You know what I'm saying? Things have to be done, and your contributions may be part of that as a woman. So it is incumbent upon the leader to make sure that your contributions are consistently there, even if it means overcharging you, right? Because you're not consistent, right? That's how it works as a leader. So men, be aware of this so-called tab that women don't keep. Keep your tab. Keep your tab on the relationship. I'm not saying that this is something that you should necessarily throw in her face and say, well, there were, this time on this date that you didn't do this. So we're going to go ahead and do this, not if that's not your relationship, because, in the BDSM world, it is kind of like that. But that's another story. That's what my other channel's for, right? But here, this is something that you necessarily don't want to do in a regular relationship. You don't want to throw it in one's face that they are, messed up, unless, like I said, you have that understanding where you can talk to your partner in that open fashion, right? But not necessarily. Let me correct myself. Jeez, I have to watch myself with this language. I do not mean partner. I don't know. Maybe you consider them their partner. I don't know. I don't consider a woman my partner. Let's talk about that for a second. I don't consider a woman my partner because that means that she is a peer to me. Kind of like if I know some of you have been to college, right? If I had a lab that I needed to do, I had to pick a partner, which means that no matter if it was male or female, this person would be equally responsible for the same things I'm responsible for in this lab. That's not how it works in relationships, because what you're responsible for is different from what she's responsible for, or at least it should be, especially as a masculine man and a leader. Yeah, definitely. So I'm pretty sketchy about calling a woman my leader, or excuse me, really don't want to call her that. Intangible leader, maybe, but tangible leader, no, not at all. But I'm very sketchy about calling a woman my partner for that reason. I like to call her I do things completely different. So I call the women by the names that I call them, that I named them by. I name my women. Because they're being born to me in my environment. So I named them. Just no different than, like I said, the job that we were given by God. We're to name everything new into the environment. Then that's exactly what I do. But anyway, that's just me. But anyway, definitely keep tabs on your woman. Keep tabs on what she does. Don't throw it in her face, but make sure that you are equalizing and surplusing what is required of her for this reason. But you should keep tabs of this relationship, because once again, things are backwards. They want you to believe that this is the way that things are supposed to be, so that it aids in the constant and furtherance of destruction of the relationship. Every little thing counts. Every little thing counts. You cannot let anything slide, and especially something like this, which you may think is small. Keeping tabs, no. You need to. Everything that is part of a relationship is important, especially if you're the leader. You need all tools on deck in order to do your job. So keep a tab in order for that to be a tool for your leadership. But anyways, like, comment, and share. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on the good old Patreon. I'm going to be uploading more videos to the Patreon. I think this next weekend, I'm going to upload a few videos because I'm actually in surplus of videos right now for the week. So I'm going to upload a few more for the Patreon. I have to chop and screw those, I do my own editing. I need to get somebody to do this stuff. But I don't want to be responsible for that. Anyways, as you know it, this is the life I live. I have fun over here by myself, believe me. I love my peace and quiet. But anyways, like, comment, and share. Like I said, check me out on Facebook, check me out on Patreon. But until next time, this has been the Wolf in Better Clothes. May you have a good day. And of course, peace be with you.